Hello and welcome to my presentation. I'm going to show you a lot of work from my students and talk a little bit about how I like to set up my art classroom to meet the needs of the students. And by the way, the videos that are playing are of my puppy Whirly back in the day. My principal was kind enough to let me bring him to school, and I brought him every day for 2 months, and the kids loved it and he loved it, and it was a great time. I thought it'd be fun to start this presentation with him because his energy is so great. It's really cute. Let's get started. Here's a little video I created a while back to advertise my electives to the students. And there's a lot of great footage here, so I thought I'd just share it with you.
All night on your trampoline, when you kissed the sky, it made your sister scream. You ate our chips and you drank our Coke, and then you showed me Mars through your telescope. Oh, Grace, take your money for the children. 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 Well, you sang your songs and you made us laugh, and so we captured you in a photograph. And when the stars came out, your mother called your name. But when the morning comes, we'll get together again. Oh, Grace, save your money for the children. 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 Oh, Grace, save your money, go. Save your money.
You want to give your students the best possible experience in your art room. You want your space to be a joy to be in and safe for all kinds of creative self-expression, where students feel empowered to experiment and where mistakes aren't looked at as just something that went wrong, but as experiences to help grow. Because if you're not making mistakes, you're not growing. The art classroom is a catalyst for personal evolution. The art classroom gives students the license to pursue what they find intriguing. It is a place of imagination and pretending and playing with what your life might become if you follow a particular interest. There is freedom in the art room to imagine yourself as a carpenter by using wood and the tools of that trade and learning basic carpentry skills. But you don't have to master the skills of that trade. You are untethered by convention and can create work about your love for writing and use text without worrying about grammar rules or the MLA handbook. You can incorporate mathematical equations without following formulas because it is art class and not pre-cal with different goals and concerns. In art, you can crash your plane and walk away from it, wrote the musician and visual artist Brian Eno in his book, A Year with Swollen Appendages. In the art classroom, you can be a superhero or a supervillain. Anything you can imagine is real, to quote Picasso. Because you see, art is a place where you can explore as an adult like you did as a child, and ask questions of the world and of yourself, which you can't really ask in your regular life, or are afraid to. I started teaching high school art, I wanted to create a classroom experience with the best elements of the art rooms I was in as a young person. I was starting with little more than a beat-up kiln in a sad state of disrepair, a couple Dremels, and a box of glue guns. But I brought all my tools and supplies from home, and with a great deal of help from friends and family, actually a lot of help from friends and family, and a lot of hard work, time, and patience, the lack of resources was eventually remedied. I came from a working artist background, primarily creating installations and teaching at the college level. With the steady acquisition of new equipment and supplies, I could teach a greater variety of topics and expand the breadth of skills and techniques utilized in my class. I tried multiple teaching methods, learning activities, and assignments to diversify my pedagogy and see what worked for me. And that led to changing my projects each semester in great leaps in focus. For example, I would go from a unit primarily creating digital work and studying Gestalt theory of visual perception to a lesson on outsider art, where students carved walking sticks out of cedar, which I would need to drive up to Tioga to purchase, about a 45-minute drive. I was always on the lookout to improve, and when I learned that most of my students had never been to an art museum, I started taking all my classes on field trips twice a semester. Not only to museums, but also to private collections, artist studios, and private galleries and art collectors. I had guest artists come and give presentations and started new clubs, and not just art-related ones. My club members competed in robotics, rock climbing, and art and architecture competitions, and won a few. And I was the first from my department to offer a summer camp. My reviews were always good, and my classes often filled beyond capacity. But there was sort of a restlessness to my endeavors because I hadn't acquired all the ingredients to make my classes as rewarding for my students as I knew they could be. As I researched active learning, peer learning, team-based learning, experiential learning, problem-based learning, and case-based learning, I mixed and matched ways for students to participate in various activities, individually, in groups, via discussion, via writing, etc. I eventually learned that teachers, and especially new teachers, often suffer from bouts of imposter syndrome, and that might have played a part in my willingness to actively try new ways of teaching. I became familiar with the School of Life back in 2010. The School of Life is an educational resource focusing on philosophical thought and emotional intelligence. I used some of the ideas they offered in my classes to create assignments and icebreakers for the students. The School of Life has recently created informative videos about art and art education. Let's take a look at one.
At the centre of our societies is a hugely inventive force dedicated to nudging us towards a heightened appreciation of certain aspects of the world. With enormous skill, it throws into relief the very best sides of particular places and objects. It uses wordsmiths and image makers of near genius who can create deeply inspiring and beguiling associations and position works close to our eye lines at most moments of the day. Advertising is the most compelling agent of mass appreciation that we have ever known. Because advertising is so ubiquitous, it can be easy to forget that, of course, only a very few sorts of things ever get advertised. Almost nothing in the world is in a position to afford the budgets required by a campaign. Advertising is a form of love overwhelmingly reserved for those wealthy potentates of modern life. Nappies, cereal bars, conditioners, hand sanitizers, or family sedans. This has a habit of skewing our sense of priorities. One of our major flaws as animals, and a big contributor to our unhappiness, is that we're very bad at keeping in mind the real ingredients of happiness. We lose sight of the value of almost everything that's readily to hand. we're deeply ungrateful towards anything that's free or doesn't cost very much. We trust in the value of objects more than ideas or feelings. We're sluggish in remembering to love and to care, and we're prone to racing through the years, forgetting the wonder, fragility, and beauty of existence. It's fortunate, therefore, that we have art. One way to conceive of what artists do is to think that they are, in their own way, running advertising campaigns, not for anything expensive or usually even available for purchase, but for the many things that are at once of huge human importance and yet constantly in danger of being forgotten. In the early part of the 21st century, the English artist David Hockney ran a major advertising campaign for trees. At the start of the 16th century, the German painter Albrecht Dürer launched a comparable campaign around the value of grass. And in the 1830s, the Danish artist Christian Købke did a lot of advertising for the sky, especially just before or after a rain shower. In the psychological field, the French painter Pierre Bonnard carried out an exceptionally successful campaign for tenderness, turning out hundreds of images of his partner Marthe, viewed through lenses of sympathy, concern, and understanding. In an associated move, the American painter Mary Cassatt made a pretty good case for the world-beating importance of spending some time with a child. These were all acts of justice, not condescension. They were much-needed correctives to the way that what we call glamour is so often located in unhelpful places, in what's rare, remote, costly, or youthful. If advertising images carry a lot of the blame for instilling a sickness in our souls, the images of artists can reconcile us with our reality and reawaken us to the genuine but too easily forgotten value of our own lives. Consider Chardin's painting Woman Taking Tea. The sitter's dress might be a bit more elaborate than is normal today, but the painted table, teapot, chair, spoon and cup could all be picked up at a flea market. The room is studiously plain, and yet the picture is glamorous. It makes this ordinary occasion and the simple furnishings seductive. It invites the beholder to go home and create their own live version. The glamour is not a false sheen that pretends something lovely is going on when it isn't. Chardin recognizes the worth of a modest moment and marshals his genius to bring its qualities to our notice. It lies in the power of art to honor the elusive but real value of ordinary life. It may teach us to be more just towards ourselves as we endeavor to make the best of our humble circumstances, a job we don't always love, the imperfections of age, our frustrated ambitions, and our attempts to stay loyal to sometimes irritable families. Art can do the opposite of glamorize the unattainable. It can reawaken us to the genuine merit of life as we're forced to lead it. It's advertising for the things we really need.
I have included the School of Life video and also gave a little time to absorb it while playing images of the art produced in my classes, because what was presented by Alan de Botton has been a great reassurance for me and in my art instruction that I have been on the right path. I started teaching with this idea that it was a given that art can offer intellectual and emotional growth to those who give themselves the time to contemplate or create it. I always included big ideas and questions within my lessons, like identity or the environment. We would discuss the materials and tools offered in a project, focusing on how they would be utilized as part of the piece's content or story. I referenced the sculptor Martin Puryear as an example, as Puryear often shows how his work was constructed, and the surface will usually show the hand of the artist. Through the School of Life and other resources that might be mined more often for content by teachers like Art 21 and TED Talks, I was able to have meaningful discussions in my classes from the beginning. One example is I often had my Sculptor 1 students discuss definitions of art during quarter 1. Each week we would take a different point of view promoted by a particular artist or art movement, or one that I came up with myself that related to the current events. For instance, we referenced this definition of art, discussing authorship when creative personalities were in the news for bad behavior. We debated whether it's necessary to like or admire the person who made the art we enjoy. Here's one of the definitions that we discussed. Art is a form of communication where we make meaning beyond language, and language cannot explain or describe its content. Because what art expresses can never be fully known, considering its purpose is in part created through the experience of the audience as well as the intention and the expression of the artist. With the success of these meaningful conversations and through the websites I had previously mentioned, I started to incorporate more big ideas into my lessons and follow the advice given on the Art 21 site under the section called Contemporary Approaches to Teaching. But then the pandemic happened, and without warning, we started teaching our classes remotely. This happened on a Wednesday of our spring break, but luckily I had been concerned about what I had heard on the news and checked out a laptop from my school the Friday before the break. It had not been used for a while, and the software wasn't updated, but at least I had something to operate from home. And after borrowing some other equipment, and considering what was happening worldwide, I decided to attempt to make my classes a bit of a sanctuary, a positive place where students felt empowered and inspired. So I devised a series of online lessons called Spin the Globe. Each project took students to different geographical locations, exploring communities that have faced economic and social adversity. We learned how they overcame these struggles through community projects, incorporating the arts, and did an art project related to the place we were focusing on. Let's watch one of the videos I created. Hi guys, we are going to be looking at the creative arts, creative growth. Hi guys, we're going to be going to Northern California, to the Bay Area, and looking at the Creative Growth Art Center, which is a great place, and it helps out people in the community with special needs, and it makes them into art stars, basically. We're going to look at their art, we're going to look at the community, and create something really amazing from the inspiration that we get from them. Tom DiMario, the director of the Creative Growth Art Center, says we bring them into an environment where we say, tell us who you are and express yourself. And that's really exactly what I want you to do in this project. I want you to express yourself in such a way that you are letting the world know who you are as a person. You're going to watch a short video about the Creative Growth Art Center, and you're also going to answer some questions about that video. It's done on this wonderful program called Art 21 on PBS. And then you're also going to find an object that represents you, an object or material that represents you. I got this idea for this project from the Bay Area's KQED and their education program. They work with the San Francisco Museum of Modern Art, and they create these wonderful art projects for the local community. Where do artists find their inspiration? You might be surprised to learn that for many artists, inspiration often comes from ordinary, everyday objects, experiences, and materials. In addition to traditional art materials like paint, ink, or clay, some artists create their works using commonplace materials. For instance, the artist Gu Wenda created a piece in 2013 for the San Francisco Museum of Modern Art using a very non-traditional material, human hair. Wenda believes hair symbolizes all of humanity, particularly in a multicultural society. Guys, let me show you some of the objects that I have chosen to represent me. They're right here, next to me here. I like to collect rocks that have holes in them. And I just think they're naturally created holes, and I just think they're really interesting. This one actually looks like a keyhole. And I think this represents in me this curiosity about the natural world. I'm always like going on these long walks in nature. I love to go on hikes. And there's a whole mythology that talks about these kind of stones that have holes in them. Sometimes they're called serpent stones. Here's some other things I've collected on walks. This is like a big, I don't know exactly what it is. It was on the side of a stump. But I think it's really beautiful, and it just, once again, it speaks of my appreciation for nature and how I just love to be out in the natural environment. This is a hand that I made when I was like probably 3 years old. I put my hand in a sandbox and made an imprint in wet sand, and they poured plaster into it. And I've had this my whole life, basically, since I was 3, and I just love it. And so I've kept this, I put it on my wall, and it just reminds me of just the innocence that is like still part of me, who I am. As always, this is going to be due at the end of the week on Friday. Also, we're gonna have a Zoom meeting, and we're gonna be able to talk about the project there, and hopefully you'll be able to share some ideas with the class. All right, thanks a lot, guys. Hope you really enjoyed this project. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. All right, take care. Talk to you soon. Through my research during the pandemic for the Spin the Globe activities, I became more familiar with big ideas or universal themes, and I revamped my curriculum with big ideas and essential questions as what I started with first when developing a lesson. And I soon discovered that using one overreaching theme or big idea over an entire semester in my classes created a sense of continuity that not only benefited the structure of my assignments, but improved knowledge retention among my students, demonstrated in their grades, on quizzes, and during class discussions. Big ideas are broad, important human issues characterized by complexity, ambiguity, and contradiction. Examples of big ideas are freedom and social change, heroes and leaders, humans and the environment, and identity. Essential questions are incorporated into each lesson, igniting dialogue and stimulating debate. The contemplation and discussion of essential questions enables students to make vital and informative connections with big ideas, framing each project, and also the past lessons and lectures encouraging further inquiry and new knowledge.
On the windows, the big ones, all created by the sculpture classes. All the ofrendas were created by the Spanish 3, 4, and 5 classes. So, big effort by a lot of different people.
I would like to share with you a little bit about a project that I call Heritage Narrative. The big idea that we deal with within the Sculpture 1 classes is identity. This project focuses on family and how our families relate to developing our identity. The students start out by interviewing a family member they admire from an older generation or someone that they are close to and feel as if they are like family. They conduct this interview through the free PBS StoryCorps app, and they have the option to upload their interview to the American Folklife Center at the United States Library of Congress or keep this interview private. After studying various forms of visual narration, students then create a work of art incorporating symbolic imagery representing the ideas and emotions within their PBS StoryCorps interview. Here are some of the essential questions that we sometimes use within this project. What can we learn from different generations? How are people transformed through their relationships with others? And do you think the person who you interviewed will know more about you by looking at your symbolic identity portrait of them?
Today is February 14th, and I'm speaking with Sonia Oliva, who is my mom. We are recording this interview in Dallas, Texas. Hi, Ma.
Hi, son.
The first question is, how would you like to be remembered?
I would like to be remembered as a good mother, sister, friend, and strong in my faith as a Christian Catholic. And I also would like to be remembered as a hard worker, someone with ethics and honor. That's pretty much it.
All right. I think you'll be remembered by that, to be honest. Okay, the next question is, can you tell me about your relationship with your parents?
I had a good relationship with my parents. I had my mother and my stepfather. And I was always a fairly decent daughter. I never did anything horrendous or skip school and things like that. I was hard-headed, and sometimes, obviously, just like any young teenager, I wanted to do it my way. But my dad had a pretty strong disciplinary method. So pretty much kept myself and my other siblings in line. And my dad was in growing up in my generation, it was a big thing to have finished high school. Mm-hmm. My mom actually probably only went to like the 5th grade, but my stepfather graduated from high school, and if he would have had the let's just say the financial support and other support necessary to like move on to college, he would have been a very he would have been something like an engineer. Matter of fact, he mentioned wanting to be an engineer once. He was really smart. He was a well-read man. He loved reading.
My name is Carrie Finley. I'm 47 years old.
My name is Janelle Finley. I am 16 years old, and we are recording in our house in Dallas, Texas. Can you tell me about someone who has had a big influence on your life? What lessons did that person teach you?
Okay. Someone who had a big influence on me was my advisor in college. Her name was Dr. Joanne Lepton. When I was, I think, a freshman in college, I was in a program that was for students that were interested in science careers, and she was a very respected scientist in the nutrition department at Texas A&M, and had won many awards and published research in colon cancer and nutrition. And she was willing to take me on as an intern in her lab. And she was always very generous with her time and her expertise. And even though I was like a lowly undergraduate student, and she had graduate students and doctoral students and postdoc candidates, she invited me to all of their lab meetings and was respectful anytime I had questions that were way below her level of expertise. She was always willing to answer any question I had. And then I also had her for a couple classes during my senior year in college. And not only was she an excellent professor, she just could explain any concept to anyone and you would just understand it. And it was just amazing to me because I knew how intelligent she was. And she was just so generous and such a good mentor, especially for someone in science, being a strong woman. And she was just a great person. So,
if you could hold on to one memory from your life forever, which would it be?
okay, so the one memory that I would hold on to forever would be the first moment that I held my first child. So even though I have 3 children, it would be that memory for each of those children. But since I can only pick one, then it would be the first child, because it's like a love and a feeling that you could never have imagined until you experience it. And so I feel like I will hold on to that memory forever, even though it was a little bit foggy because you're extremely tired after childbirth. But yeah, that's the memory I would hold on to.
Did you have a nickname? And if so, can you tell me the story of how you got it?
Yes, I do have a nickname. My actual name is my nickname. So my given name is Carol Elizabeth Perez, now Finley. But I've always gone by Carrie since I was born, actually, because I'm named after my mom, Carolyn Perez. And my dad picked that name, picked the name Carol for me. And my mom only agreed to name me Carol if I went by Carrie. So that's been my nickname my entire life. And I, at some point, thought I would start going by Carol, but that has never happened. So I guess I'm Carrie for the rest of my life. And then another nickname that I have is Bear, which is the nickname that my husband gave me, I don't know, at some point when we started dating, because a lot of people called me Care Bear, just because, Carrie, Care Bear. So he shortened that to Bear. So even now he'll call me Bear and I respond. So I guess those are the two nicknames I've had for the majority of my life.
Thank you for answering my questions.
You're welcome.
And so the whole thing will turn white, extremely hard. I'm going to clean it off with some grease cutting cleanser of some kind, maybe Dawn, just to make sure all the release agent is off.
Can you paint this thing?
And then I paint it, and I make it look like steel, make it look like metal. And that's it. Thanks for your help.
That's the heart, right? The green is family right here. Gotta keep it close to you.
Oh, yeah, family close to you.
Red's the heart.
Yeah,
Red's the heart. Yeah.
There's a heart. Yeah.
The top left is your friends, the homies, right hand man. Right
hand man. Right.
Right here is the money. It's the money. The money right at your feet. What's that right arm? That's money. That's money. You're
making money.
This is food. This is sustenance.
Food, sustenance.
That's faith. Yeah, this faith right here.
And faith. Faith is your head and your shoulder. Awesome. Good job, guys. I loved it. Team effort. Go.
Okay, so the yellow represents my spirituality and God.
Okay.
And the purple represents how my family's important to me. And the orange is my friends.
Okay.
And the blue is art.
Blue's art. Oh, I like that.
Yeah, the blue is art and the green is snakes.
Soccer, grass, yeah. All right, that's awesome. I like it. That's perfect. That's exactly how we want it. Love it.
Because I think just looking at this, she really is like my core.
right. So after you spray paint your boards and glue the marble on the bottom, the next step is just to make this top part, which is really easy, and we'll do that in class, and I'll show you how to do that. Not a big deal. And then you can take different pictures and put them on the inside of the zoetrope and create the illusion of motion, like this.
I learned that being brave is more about just standing out. It's doing what others don't want to do and maybe going against the grain when other people are saying you're not right, but you stand up for what you believe is right.
I want my life to be filled with happiness, success, and I want to be fearless. I want my life to be filled with peace, joy, and happiness.
That was pretty fun. All my guy friends.
I felt like it brought us closer together, especially when we were in groups and we had to talk about where others find happiness and how they define success.
Oh yeah, I thought it was really fun. I thought it brought us a lot closer to each other individually. The last event was really fun, the yarn throwing, the yarn ball.
I thought the junior retreat was really good. I took away a lot of things from that day. I learned that teamwork is one of the most important things we have in our lives. We have each other, and friendship and having people there for you can carry you through life to succeed. My favorite part was the string theory, which we had a lot of fun with, and we learned that we needed each other to get out of it.
Hey guys, I would love it if you came tomorrow and joined us on our Zoom meeting at 12:15. We can share what we've been up to, just visit a little bit. Also, I got some cool games on Jackbox I would love to play with you guys. 12:15, I'm going to send you the information. I hope to see you. Bye.
Of this moment, of this place, is of our team. It's called The Messenger. Let's get out of here. Corey Johnson, please.
What do you want to do?
Yeah, what do you want to do? What are you going to college for, and what do you want to do after that?
Okay, so, were you,
What do you want to do?
yeah, what are you gonna do?
No, I'm asking you.
Oh, me?
Yeah, you.
I wanna be a doctor. I wanna help someone.
What kind of doctor?
I'm thinking either an anesthesiologist or an ER doctor.
And what are you going to go to school?
I'm still stuck on that.
Still okay. Yeah, me too. Because I'm going to be doing ROTC in college, and then I'll be serving in the Army for 8 years, at least 8 years after that. So I need to pick a good college.
Okay, ask the question again.
Okay. Ask another one.
Please. Or you got the same one.
List 5 risks you haven't had the guts to take yet. Tell me.
Let's see. You go first.
There you go. Say what you just said.
I'm on camera now. Let's see. 5 risks. I haven't taken the risk of getting out of my comfort zone.
I haven't had the risk of actually telling my mom what I'm doing over the weekend. Or the guts to tell her what I'm actually doing.
For real?
So.
Oh, I've been talking to my mom about girls at all. Like, I'm so scared to do that because she like, I don't know, she like beat me up or something. That's so scary.
I haven't taken the risk of eating a habanero pepper. I haven't taken the risk of skydiving yet. I haven't taken the risk of trying out for the baseball team freshman year. Cameron, I haven't taken the risk of. I've never taken the risk of using the restroom without toilet paper.
Yeah, I don't plan on doing that one.
Yeah. I'm a risk taker.
Alright, my question.
Okay.
Is it on every page?
You just
do whatever,
randomly find a page.
Thank you for watching and listening. And please feel free to contact me at CoreyKentJohnson.com if you have any questions.
Time for the dog park, isn't it, honey? Okay, let's go play. Come on over here, come on. Come on, it's okay. Come on. Let's go see what the other dogs are doing. Yeah, it's all good.